What's up? Welcome to another episode of the Fins Faithful Podcast. Thanks for joining us on this Monday evening. Miami Dolphins are winless 0-3. And suddenly the blame game's in full swing, boys. And how much is Tua to blame? Is McDaniel limited in what he can call because of Tua's limitations? Or the bigger issues dragging this team down? Stick around because we're breaking it all down. And we want your opinion in the chat on this episode. It's crucial. And of course, we're live with you guys on YouTube. So drop those likes, subscribe, share it. Let everybody know we're live here in the Fins Faithful, breaking it down. And as always, I got my co-host and co-pilot Jason Sarney, but we also got Curtis, who hosts the when there is a game on Sundays, countdown to game day on Saturday with me. We break it all down, the X's and O's. And we got Curtis in the house as well. You know him as Ace per head. Fellas, thanks for joining me this evening. How you doing?
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
All right,
Good seeing you, Jason.
Likewise, Curtis, my man. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure.
All right, so let's get into this, right? We'll start here before we get we got some videos. I'm gonna tell you some stuff on video that I think the difference is with the 23 to the 25 to it. The boys don't even know about this. Something I noticed, and so we're gonna have all 22 videos attached. I should have mentioned that on the top. But let's start, Curtis. Here, I haven't talked to you since the Bills game. Kind of put a bow on it for us. How are your thoughts, kind of what you saw, the effort, and how that game went about on Thursday night in Buffalo?
I thought they were going to get beat by 17 points. It was nice to see them competitive. They really played hard through the whole game. There was definitely Hill dropping the bomb, Sealer running to the kicker. That was a killer. And then even, you want to get on Tua for the pick. I'm not so hard on that. It happened in 1.51 seconds. And, you look at, he had one guy open. He should have eaten it is what he should have done. The pick, he should have just eaten it. But he's not that kind of guy. They don't have him trained for it. I think the pressure, 1.51 seconds is terrible. He's not elite. You throw him into the mix. And there was penalties on the offensive line. I thought McDaniel called about 75% of the game great. But he got away from Ollie. I thought the pick play should have been a run play. And, even things like, okay, you take out Keon, which is no good. You put Brunskill in, and he gives up 2 pressures in 13 plays. And one of them was, I think he was trying to run block, and he got swum on for the 1.51 seconds. So it was a lot of good as far as effort. There was a lot of good. Even Tua looked really good. He had a run play, roll out. But then it was that 25% of it's just bad. And, even the pass defense gave up those points right away. So I don't know. To me, that's like the max game we can play. I just feel like it's hardwired in us to make stupid mistakes. And that game was perfectly set up for us. That track is faster, surprisingly, I think, than the Dolphins track. And the grass is just much nicer there, but it's a little slower. And their defense is beat up, and it's not as good as you'd think. There is a weakness on that Bills team. So I just thought it was set up for us to win. I thought just before that kick return, we were going to win it. I was like, holy cow, they look nervous. They look out of it a little bit. They look on the ropes. And that I love Zach Sealer, but he didn't play well. He hasn't really played well this season. And that was just terrible. But, people want to fixate onto him. But he throws the pick, and fixate on that. But I don't know. To me,
we got the play. Don't worry. That's one of our clips. We got the play of the pick. We're going to break it down. It wasn't – everybody's going to have their opinion on it. Again, thanks to everybody in the chat.
It's sad because I'm not even like a big Tua guy, and I'm like I find myself having to defend him this season.
There's
not
some things
him,
that
but
I found that I said I'm trying to look. What because I think the big question for me is what happened in 23 versus now. Look, everybody's going to talk about the coverage. Everybody plays that coverage. I know it's really – against the Dolphins is more than usually. I mean, they like to – kind of bail out and play that soft coverage against us, that too high, but it's more than that. And I think there's some things where I think Tua kind of was doing more in 23, and we'll kind of get into all that. Jason, anything you want to wrap a bow up on the game Thursday night? I know we were post-game for after the game, but anything that kind of you want to talk about before we head into kind of the nitty-gritty here?
Yeah, we definitely touched on it back in the post-game on Thursday night. Curtis, you mentioned some great stuff as well. You lose by 10 points. They're down at Oliver Mount Milano. They had an opportunity to win the game. Their defense played absolutely horrible, the Dolphins D, in the first half, but that improved. But Tua, had some good, had some bad, and ultimately it wasn't good enough. So this team is 0-3. They head into an 0-3 matchup against the Jets.
Yeah.
What could you do? But the Sealer penalty, I don't know why you have to ask Sealer to do that. You know what I mean? It's almost like you want to live to just get the ball back, not give them another opportunity. You give a team like the Bills a second chance by shooting yourself in the feet, what's going to happen? They're going to capitalize every single time. So it was unfortunate. I did like the way McDaniel called the game and utilized the run. It was a great rushing performance from a team standpoint, but ultimately it just wasn't enough.
Yeah. As we lost Curtis there for a second, I want to say this. I think it's funny you mentioned all those things because we're going to hit on all that. Is McDaniel being limited with the play calling? Everybody love when you're 0-3, everything's up on the table. Every option's on the table. Is Tua limiting this offense? Would you like to see McDaniel now with another quarterback? All these questions, right? I've seen the blame game being thrown around in various different ways. But at the end of the day, I thought Tom Pelissero made an excellent point. And it made me think. It was the reason why I wanted to do this show. And it was the reason why I went back and watched the film to try to figure out, Jason, what's going on with Tua. Because I think we're making a lot of excuses. I don't think it's only just the offensive line, the play calling. I think he's got something to do with it and more. Let's go ahead and play the Pelissero clip. And here it is. Curtis will be back with us as soon as he jumps back on. We'll get him back in. Let me get it up here. All right, here we go.
With the hoops that Mike McDaniel has to jump through on a week-in, week-out basis to design a game plan for a quarterback who can't get hit. You can't have him holding the ball. You can't have him designed runs. You can't really run quarterback sneaks. We've seen some of the, in relative terms, the least athletic quarterbacks in the NFL get exposed at times as runners. Tom Brady ran a pass route in a Super Bowl. It didn't end well, but they put that in the game plan. You can't do that with Tua. You can't run a naked bootleg. You're not going to run zone read with him just to keep people honest. If you watch the game last night, whether it's he's not trusting the protection, whether it's he doesn't want to get hit, or he's been told don't get hit, he's not stepping up in the pocket. Everything when there's pressure, he's going out the back of the pocket and he's flushing left. And all those things combined make it really hard to produce on a week-in and week-out basis, that even when you draw up a play that maybe has a chance to succeed, he either doesn't go the right spot with it, or the timing and the drop is off. It's just a lot of different things that go into this. And having said all that, Rich, they've still, if you look at the schedule on the other side of the bye, they've got 4 or 5 winnable games coming up here where they've got a chance to get back in it. But they've got to get better as a team. They've got to clean up those self-inflicted errors. And Tua's got to play a lot better than he's played through these first 3 weeks.
I think we got Curtis back here. Sorry. We got you back.
My internet's a pimp.
That's okay. We just played the Pelissero clip. Were you able to hear it at all?
No, just give me the jive.
All right, Jason, go ahead. Basically, he's saying we're underestimating the fact of Mike McDaniel not being able to call certain plays for a quarterback who can't be hit and can't get hurt, which I do think there's something to that. He also talked about him not stepping in the pocket, dropping back, kind of, fidgety in the pocket. Jason, let's go. You heard it. Is there any? What do you think of that? Actually, is there any merit to that?
Yes. I mean, if I have to use one word to describe what Tua has looked in the first 3 weeks, it's uncomfortable. And mixing that with McDaniel having to call a game around that discomfort, that if it's going to be, second, third read, it's not going to be a good scenario. If he holds onto the ball too long, not going to be a good scenario. Half of the quarterbacks in this NFL right now can make plays with their feet, maybe more. And Tua is a guy who really shouldn't and really can't at this point do that. He's not the same guy from he was never like, a freelancer type of a player, but in college, he was able to utilize his athleticism and make plays. But I just don't see that from him. And I don't see, sound decision making. And when you look at the interceptions, I'm not saying every single interception he's thrown this season was his fault. We'll obviously dissect the interception against the Bills, but there's reason to understand that they're not good throws or good decisions mixed with other problems. But when you go 3 straight games with these same kind of scenarios, it's showing his downfall as a player. It's year 6, and there hasn't been an ascension to even remote eliteness since 2023. And 2023 was basically a combination of surprising the league with McDaniel's, wizardry that season, everything falling into place, Tyreek being sensational, Raheem Mostert breaking a touchdown record, HM becoming, a phenomenal rookie. Everything went extremely right for them to just fall short later in the year. Right now, everything is not going right, and here we are at 0-3, turnovers, ineptitude on defense, which isn't helping the offense, and unfortunately for me, I'm going to double down on the word uncomfortable. You should not be looking this uncomfortable if you're a 6th-year franchise quarterback who has gotten paid the way he's gotten paid and has the weapons that he does have at his disposal, regardless of injuries on the offensive line, regardless of not having a quality tight end. He has 2 phenomenal wide receivers and the best pass-catching running back in the league for my money that's not named Alvin Kamara. So what are we doing here? And I think that there's a major regression right now that we're seeing.
Curtis, do you think there's some merit to defending McDaniel here and saying he has a quarterback who's very limited and limits him what he can call, and it's kind of limiting the offense?
Well, I'm sorry, I'm not, so I'll do my best.
It's all right.
I think it's a 2-part question because, 22 and 23, he had great seasons, his best seasons. But the offensive line was so much better. I do think he's a limited quarterback. I didn't want him after the hip injury. I wanted us to not go with him. I didn't want to force him in 2020. But I certainly didn't want to take a guy with injury history who's short, who can't throw deep outs, who can't scramble, and give him a crap offensive line. You look at 23, and last year's offense was the best offensive line we'd ever seen. It was garbage. This might be worse than last year's. I mean, think about it. He was blitzed 26% of the time, pressured 42% of the time. Jonah had 5 pressures. Brunskill had 2 pressures on 13 snaps. You know who the guy is. Like, who in their right mind would take Tua, knowing his limitations and his strengths, and build an offense that is a fun ball system with no offensive line? I'm not saying it would make him great, but we said the same thing with Tannehill. He can't play. And then it goes to the Titans, and then they build around what he can do, and then he had success. This offensive line's garbage. Jonah is terrible. And I'm not saying his athletic ability, but the guy picks his feet up and puts it down in the same spot. He's in the league right now.
Yeah.
Smith can be in anybody else's roster, who we all made the right tackle. And then you got Paul, who's kind of iffy because he's playing next. He doesn't look comfortable. Had 1 good game, and you got no tight ends. To me, you built this thing wrong. You built this thing like you wanted Dan Marino in 1982. They should have said, hey, this guy is like a greasy, and he's got the build a team, a run game, piece of the puzzle. Get the results of this idiot is trash. Allen, he had a 46% pressure, a blitz rate, and 26% pressure. Is compared to 13. It's like, how do you take I said in my podcast, how do you take Tattoo from Fantasy Island and then you get angry at him? He can't win the reach contest. So you'd want to get him platform shoes. You'd want to get him an elevator. So they just said, let's take this guy and make him the centerpiece, the driver of this offense. Who would spend an entire draft pick on a small, fast receiver, 2 first-round draft picks on a small, fast receiver, and then not go on the offensive line? To me, Tua, his allows Greer to have thrown this garbage offensive line out there and have any semblance, but now it's so bad. And what they're going to do, my opinion is the media blitz will then, but it was
you're breaking up.
Rookie.
You're choppy in and out. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm going to say if we only had a new quarterback, they'll get the new quarterback and they'll screw him up too, because it's the people.
Yeah.
The Tua, he's the one who should get the number one blame. This team is unprecedented pick here for team build. I don't know if you're hearing me, but
yeah. We got 75% of you in and out.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
You're fine. I didn't want to. We got the gist of it. I didn't want to stop your great rant there. You had great points.
I always have rants.
But all right. Let's go to Pelisar's comment about Tua doesn't look comfortable, kind of limited the offense, kind of happy feet. Let's go to one clip I saw. So I went back in the game, and let's play some of these here. We'll start off here. All right, first play here. All right, well, let me go back. All right, so we got. I want you guys to look at this. They rush 4. They rush 4, but look at Tua here in the pocket. Look at. Look where he runs straight back. This ball started, I believe, at the 42 of Buffalo. He ends up throwing this something like Miami's 30. Let's just keep rolling. Look where he ends up throwing this. Look where he ends up. This is just, Jason, you mentioned how uncomfortable he looks in the pocket. Look at this. I mean, my brother actually pointed me this play out when we were watching, and I couldn't agree more. Pocket gets a little, pressure's not horrible. I mean, look, there's some pressure, but there's a pocket there. Now what he needs to do is, you see that hole there in between, if he's going to take off, go straight forward, right? What he does is turn his back completely to the play, and throws it 14 yards behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, these are the kind of things, Curtis, Jason, this is the kind of stuff, I didn't see this in 23.
This was what I meant by, as you mentioned it, what I meant by uncomfortable, because he was running backwards to give himself enough time to get rid of the ball without getting hit. The second he decided to break out of the pocket and run backwards was almost like, all right, I got to buy myself time to throw the ball and not get hit. And you knew this place was a dead on arrival play the second after that pocket broke down. And you know what? Do you kind of try to squeeze a couple of yards right in that little crevice right there?
Look at that. I mean, listen,
right
this is the NFL, Jason. This is Curtis. This is the NFL. It's not going to be perfectly clean. This is good.
No, he's got to make that one.
This is good enough.
You got to 100%.
Look, I said this, and people didn't like me. And Moser, Josh Moser, we had on, said, that's a pretty hot take. But if you can't do this, you shouldn't be playing quarterback in the NFL. If you're that limited, and I'm sorry to say that. So you got to take off and run up the middle if you're going to do anything. Or we're going to get into what his biggest problem is. I mean, his back is completely turned to the play.
I mean, the more you look at it, the more it's evident.
Is he running? It's crazy.
It's the more evident that he was just buying himself another half a second to not get hit. The play right here is done. Like with someone like Tua, the play is over. It was just saving his body. I'm not
slide.
I don't want to
take 6-7 yards and slide.
Right. Or you know what? Anything a positive yardage. You can't go broke taking a profit. And that's what he could have done when there was a little bit of a sliver of a pocket. What he did was go backwards 10 yards and throw the ball before the line of scrimmage to avoid getting.
Where did this start? At the 42 of Buffalo, right? Yeah, that's what it looks like. The 42 of Buffalo. That's where the ball starts, and he ends up throwing. Here is take off, slide, get 4 yards. You got to be.
That's what I'm saying.
You got to be able to do that.
And you do that properly, at least.
Does he think he's throwing to the other end zone? Because that's what it looks like right now. And where does he throw this ball? Wait. That's the what? The 43 of our 43 versus their. That's like 14-yard difference. Like I said, what did I say? It was like on the 40. I don't remember, but it's like I remember I calculated it before we came on here. It was like a 14-yard difference he throws behind the line of scrimmage. That's crazy. Curtis, anything on this play?
Well, I think, I think somebody's saying he had a couple of plays where he did hang in the pocket. Even the one where he threw the pick, he hung in the pocket.
Not enough.
No, but you can, like somebody mentioned in there, like Carr. If you listen, you got to think about it. As a coach, you're trying to set a psychology up. You've already set a psychology. You're throwing at 2.04, 2.9, 2.1 seconds.
Oh, we're going to get into that, yeah.
You know, so you've created I mean, look, he was always a little bit skittish. I think he's a nice guy. I don't think he's got a lot of, but he does at times show stuff. But if you're going to create because the whole idea is you're trying to create psychology for your players. And just think about, like, again, with Jonah, what they're doing to him, what kind of psychology they're creating. And so I think that if you put him in front of a pretty good offensive line, you would see, I don't ever think he's going to be stellar. I'm sure it's a piece of it, but it's being exasperated. So you're taking, I said in another podcast, it's like, say, hey, Superman, go fight Lex Luthor over there. Take this piece of kryptonite with you. A coach's job is to hide the flaws and accentuate the strengths. The design of this thing, the philosophy by McDaniel, whether it's driven because Greer has forced this talent on him, has slowly but surely brought out the worst traits in him. And I don't ever think he's going to be good enough, but Tannehill wasn't good enough. But he went to he won the AFC, not the whole thing, but he had playoff success. I just think that this thing has been built to not really. People say, "Oh, well, you throw him fast for his quick release." You could have a very good offensive line, a good offensive line, a pretty good tight end, run that football and use the release off legitimate play action. You could have got everything you got now with a different philosophical build, and it would have suited the rest. It would have built confidence in him. Yeah. We yelled at Flores because he was being tough on him. And then we cheered when McDaniel flew in his jet and I'm going to love you and massage you. And we cheered that. But the process was there. Gailey, if you understand his offenses, would have taken care of this. Fitzpatrick would have, but someone rushed him in 2020. Someone, forced Flores out because he was, and then they said he had dead bodies in the basement and everybody called him evil and he was mean to Tua. And now we're complaining that he is what he is. McDaniel is not a guy that's going to get people to be tough. He's had he had one halfway decent game and everyone's like, oh, he's maybe so good. What about all the other games, all this whole history? How about when he throws the interception, you come out with Ollie on a first down and you just run a damn ball. It was tied game. I think you could have gone for the 3, or position yourself for a second down, a 2-way go. So it's the quarterback is the most dependent position in the game of football. He's not elite. He's a 7 to 8 in the right formula. But you've set a framework up that's like a 5 or a 4. Who else? Look at Stroud getting killed over there. He's 0-3. And everyone say, oh, he's on the move. He's so good. He's got no offensive line, and his offense sucks. Yeah. Look at Crazy-Eyed Daniels. He was garbage, and the Giants had one of the worst offensive lines in football, and now he's like Hall of Fame material.
Yeah, I'm just saying is look, I think sometimes you make a little too many excuses for the guy. This is the NFL, man. He's getting paid $50 million to make plays and extend plays. And sometimes it comes down to 1 or 2 plays where it's on the quarterback. Mm-hmm. And if you don't think that's the guy, then it's time to move on because
they shouldn't have extended him then. They should have seen it.
Tony said this in the chat. Jason, I want you to get it. It's not uncomfortable. He's playing scared. Either way, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, and it's either way. It can't. It's not. This is a different Tua.
But George, just think of it this way: this same franchise kept Eichenberg, and now he's out for extended period of time.
Oh, he's gone. Get him. He's done.
Yeah, and who would have extended Jackson? They moved $10 million to next year. We've got $30 million dead. We thought Ramsey and Hill and Chubb was a right idea. So you could take a big look. Say Tua's not our guy. We could have had Mayfield. If we had built the right framework, we could have had a Mayfield. We could have had a Darnold. But it doesn't matter who you put in this framework. They're not going to be their best, and no one's taking us anywhere substantial. It's look at San Fran. They spent 3 first-round picks on Lance, some mid-round picks. We got them, did nothing with them. They went to the Super Bowl and they found their quarterback because they're competent. We're not.
Yeah, the roster construction is horrible. The GM has been, less than average for a while. That's a whole different, we both agree this is not going to get fixed until they clean house completely. From the paint on the wall to the guy who sweeps the parking lot, this whole stench needs to change, or we're going to do this again in 4 years. If you do a halfway kind of thing, we're going to be here again. I agree with
I think they're going to. My
biggest point is I'm talking, what's the difference between Tua? Because this offense that he runs, Tua's biggest I'm going to talk about it. His biggest strength was seeing guys open before they got open. He's not doing that anymore. He's waiting. In this offense, regardless of the offensive line play, they get the ball out quick. He's not doing that. And that's a problem in this offense. Jason,
right, but think about it, George. Hold on, I'm sorry. We struggled against second stringers in preseason. You're developing the psychology all the way through this process. They let Jonah, they move him to the other side and didn't correct his feet.
Oh, yeah.
So you've set everything up to fail. So, yeah, it's Tua, but it all comes downhill. He's the poster boy. But all the way down the line, we shouldn't have signed him to the extension, but we did.
Yeah. Jason, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, going to Tony's comment, uncomfortable, scared, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It's very similar. And with all due respect, Tony, it's if he's uncomfortable getting rid of the ball because he's scared to get a hit, or he's scared to get a hit, so he looks uncomfortable. We're talking about very similar things here. And there was another comment. Someone else made a comment about he looks slower and his arm looks weaker. Casey Mad Pop, 100%. And I hate saying this, the hip injury is coming back. The chickens are coming home to roost on it, because you could see that while he might have a good distant ball here or there in the last couple of games, there's no torque, there's no power. It's almost like it's a degenerative injury where if someone said, hey, watch in 5-6 years, that hip might come back. Hi, we're here. And after one healthy season, they did make the mistake, as it's looking now, of extending him, where you should have just picked up that option. But that's a whole other conversation for another day. But the way that, and to go back to what I said earlier, this league, you need a quarterback. Offense is down overall. Yeah. Just across the board. You're going to need, the Chiefs are looking awful.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the only reason that they won last night is because they played the Giants. They look terrible in the first half. It comes
down sometimes to 1 or 2 plays from the quarterback.
Right. And
sometimes it comes down to that. That's what my point is.
You're right. You need a quarterback these days. I'm not saying you need a Jalen Hurts because he has the tush push, but look at a Jaden Daniels type of a player. Look at even like a Drake May. He's getting crushed. He's doing runs. He's getting concussed staying in. That's a whole other conversation too. But you need a type of quarterback that can do it with both your arm and your legs. And Tua is not that guy. He's not.
Yeah, and we'll get into the stats too of the last 5 minutes in one possession. His record. We'll update that. And thank everybody in the chat. If you're watching anybody else, come on to YouTube, drop the like, share the broadcast, come to the chat, tell us what you think. We're here with Curtis, I'm Ace per head, and my co-host Jason Sarney breaking down kind of the blame game here, going through some things. All right, we saw the happy feet. Let's look at another play. And I'm curious, these guys, just FYI, these guys haven't seen it. This is their first time. I'm bringing it up on them. Let's look at this one. All right, so you guys tell me what you see. We'll start with you, Curtis. Watch this. So we got let's go back to the play here. All right. So look at Tua here. Where's it? I want you to look at the middle of the field. It looks like the middle of the field looks like a dice, a number 5 on the dice. This is how compact the middle of the field is. There's not a defender outside the numbers, right? Where's Tua got to go? You see the deep out there running by Tyreek?
Yeah, he's got to run on a break or out.
Yeah, run. Step into it and let it go. What does he do? Get worried, resets his feet, and look at his footwork. Look, his feet are parallel to the line. Should go here. Let it go. Let it go to that corner. And he waits. He gets worried with the rush, resets his feet, and look where he throws from. Arm strength, throwing power does not just come from the arm, the legs, and the core. He needs all the RPMs he's got.
That torque. Yeah. That torque I was talking about.
Look at the ball. He got nervous.
That's a pitcher's throw.
Yeah, he got nervous. Instead of stepping into the pocket, this is what Pelissaro Nice was talking. Step in, rip it. This is what we're going to talk about, the hesitation. Throw guys open. Let it go. How many times did we see Tua, a defender, turn his head and the ball is just right by his finger? He's not doing that anymore. But that's not even the examples. I'm going to show you those examples. But he hesitates, and look how he throws the ball. He's got no shot. Sales. Look at the ball. Sales.
It's like
over.
What he did almost.
You want me to go back to it? Go ahead, Jason.
It's like, if you kind of equate this to, let's say, this is a completely different scenario here, but if you're like a hitter who's scared of the fastball and you step back in the box and then swing, you put your foot in the bucket. You know what I mean? That's basically what Tua did on the throw. He stepped back where he should have stepped up. It was just completely wrong mechanics, and he should have stepped up, thrown to the spot right away.
Right away. He's not, because he doesn't trust his arm.
It's not just the arm. It's the entire middle core of the body, and people
things are going to get messy. Things are going to get messy. And Curtis, I know you're a big proponent. Your Jonah video is excellent, and we're going to get into that. What do you see here?
Well, remember too, he's short, so he's got a guy in his face. He might not even be able to see where he's throwing to. He's got a guy he's short, so he's looking right now. He's got a Bourne who's 6'5".
I've seen him do it. Everything's moving back. He's moving back in the pocket. Everything.
He always does that, and that's the thing. I mentioned it, but you know that the quarterback coach taught him to do that.
That's dumb.
That leg lift. I think Al from Ortega was talking about. And I said that's crazy. I think it might have been to take some of the torque off the hip, but that's not. You got to drive through that. But that was something that what's his name? Can't remember. I always forget his name. The quarterback coach. He's not the assistant OC. If you go back and you watch his throwing platform, it's changed so much. And then when they got the new guy in here, that's what they started doing, the leg lift thing. And it's terrible. He has to. You said it was about the core and the feet. It's all about that. Yeah. He has no ability to make that.
People, people don't know throwing power doesn't come from the arm. It's the leg. It's the core. When he instead of stepping in and throwing it, he reset it because he got nervous because there was somebody within arm's length. Reset his feet and threw parallel to the line of scrimmage, fading away using all arm. He doesn't have the arm strength to do that. Like Allen can get away with that and put it on a rope. Like that's even wrong for him. But Tua's got to be perfect mechanically. And these are the little things that I've been noticing. But yeah, anything else to add on that, or is this pretty much the happy feet? Curtis, is this something you've been seeing? Because I know you watch as much film as I do.
I've been seeing it since 2022. I've talked about it.
It's gotten worse, though, man.
It's gotten worse. I just think that he should not be throwing 60-something% of the time. It should be like 50, 45, 55, 45, something like that. He's just not capable. Yeah. High volume thrower, This is what we've seen for years.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's worse. I don't know.
I don't know, Jason. Do you think it's worse? It just seems like he's moving just significantly more backwards. He's not as – honestly, it looks like the whole injury thing mentally more than physically is catching up with him. He's thinking too much. Should I do this? Should I not get hurt? I think he's thinking way too much. Dude, Tua, if I had to tell something to Tua, go out there and play, man. Just don't do the stupid stuff. If you got to take a 5-yard run and slide, you're going to take hits at the NFL. If not, go home with your family in the most respectful way I can tell you. This is not the right league for you right now.
To be fair, he's the guy who had a bunch of good plays. Like he had the run, he rolled out. I think he played good enough to win.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. When he does that kind of stuff, he can do it and not get hurt. You got to take some risk. You can't play risk-free in the NFL. It's just not going to happen. Jason, you want to add anything on that?
I'm sounding like a broken record. I'm just going to repeat what's been said in the chat and what I've been saying. It's just he has regressed. The hip injury is magnifying his already weak attributes, and the arm strength is just not there right now. It's just not, and it's not just the arm, as Curtis said. It's the hip, it's the feet, it's the core, it's everything. And you can even see when some quarterbacks just let one rip, that ball just explodes off the arm. Tua's not doing that. Even on a long throw, it's like a duck, And
you mean this one?
Well, there you go. No, didn't even see the title there.
Well, this is I had an order here, but we'll talk about this. Is if people get on. This is the Tua punt. I call it the punt. The long throw downfield. It's a basic cover. What are we seeing here defensively, Curtis? Here, that too high cover 2.
Yeah, but they put the guys up the pressure and then drop them.
Yeah, and they drop.
I think it turns into a cover 3. I'm not sure.
I think I believe so. 27 Bills out. Or what? Yeah. So look,
it's cover. Yeah, cover 3. It turns into cover 3.
Yeah, cover 3. They mix it up in Buffalo. They show one thing pre-snap and they a lot. Man, teams are running a lot of cover 3 against the Dolphins. It's crazy. All right, so here's the deep ball to Tua, and people were to Tyreek. People were getting on Tyreek for this. I'm not.
He should have had it. He
stops
right at the end. Look, you see him? He stops right there.
But look, here's the safety, right? Safety knows he's going this way. He's got 3 options. Guy underneath, Waddle Hill. He knows he's going to what? He gave him so much time to go up to that ball. That ball was not thrown well enough to me, considered.
But it hit him in the head. Look, you're paying $30 million. You got to go up and get that ball. He never does. He never goes up and gets the ball.
But he's 5'9". That's not his game.
Look, he stops right there.
That's got to be had.
Yeah,
and he mistimed it because it hits him on the left shoulder.
He hears the safety coming over. If the safety, my point is, that ball was it was literally a punt. I think Tua was thinking, shoot.
Yeah, but maybe Hill's gun shy. Maybe Hill's getting gun shy.
Guys, we got to do more of this film stuff. It makes it a lot funner, All right, so here goes Tua. Look.
Go get that ball, $30 million man.
Look at this. Look at this safety. How much time he has to get over? He feels that guy coming.
So he takes the shot in the back. You got to go get it.
I'm not blaming Tyreek on that. I thought Tyreek and Waddle had really good games for what they were asked to do.
Was this last week? I can't remember. They're all blending together. Was it this one? He fell down on the out, or was that last week?
That was this week where he kind of slipped on the out.
Yeah. It was Benford kind of tugging him, and he just fell.
Stuff, though.
I think if anything, Hills. I'm not trying to defend to it all, but none of it. Hill's not playing like he really. You got to go get that, dude. That is like yummy, man. It's a 50-yard shot. You got to go up and get that.
But he's a 5'8". You didn't get him to do that.
Doesn't matter. He's got to quit on a team last year, man. Go get that damn ball.
Can somebody tell me in the chat or anywhere what the hell happened to throwing these guys deep open quickly? What happened to it?
They can't because everybody's playing over coverage and they're dropping it to double and triple.
No, they're still there. I'm not going to go all the way on that. All teams play this cover 2 bull crap. I can't go all the way there with you, Curtis. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but what happened to that? You're not paying Tyreek Hill. You don't have Nico Collins back there. You're paying Tyreek Hill to blow by guys.
That's not a problem in and of itself. You don't have a tall receiver who can go up and get those kind of underthrown balls where to stop short, go up against 2 defensive backs, and just use a 6'3", 6'4" frame. That wasn't the best throw. Tyreek could have had that. So I agree with both of you here. And look,
I think that's a fair eval.
We're watching a game where multiple things.
You guys win. You overtake me.
Multiple things can be true on a play. It's not just on one guy all the time. 100%. All right. So could the throw have been better? Absolutely. Tyreek Hill, generational golden jacket wide receiver. You know what I mean? Should have made that catch. Yellow jacket.
Should have, yes. But I think people are blaming him solely too much on that.
I'm giving dual blame on that. If you want to go
60,
40.
Percent.
Oh,
you got a percentage on it, Jason. Sorry. Breaking news. Everybody drop a like for that. Drop a like.
But guys, remember, we had Pennington who had a true noodle arm. We won 10 games.
But he was cerebral like Albert Einstein.
Oh, yeah.
That is a different kind of.
You have 2 Ferraris on the outside. You're using them like Toyotas. That's the difference. Correct?
You know what they need? They need a Yukon.
What do we have on the outside before? With totally different offense, totally different. This is built. You're paying constructive for you get your weapons to the outside and get them deep. That's what you're paying. So you got to figure it out. Jason got it. Shout out to Jacob.
Jacob likes my percentage. He knows my.
Finally, I got a percentage out of Mr. Jason Sarney. Boy,
I
that's
thought
tough
that was
to
a
do.
0% chance that would have ever
That's
happened
tough
again.
to do, man. All right. So now, Curtis, any final arguments on that point? You're sticking with it, right? That's more on Tyreek.
No, I obviously,
I mean, look,
I think with
50-50
Jason,
ball,
but
he
listen,
threw it up.
you know, in football, if a guy doesn't do the exact right thing and you have an opportunity to make it up, you got to do it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I don't want to take that extra hit as the running back, but I got to do it for the first down.
Yeah.
I don't want to take that hit across the middle, but I got it. And it's not even really across the middle. When you jump up like that to the ball, you're getting hit from behind. That's the best when you're in the air, because the hardest part is when you get hit on the ground, you're rooted. But when you're in the air like that, that's like you got to go get that. But yeah, Tua's got it. Tua's not got a big arm. It wasn't the perfect throw, but he was in position. He had under leverage. He underplayed it. It hit him here in the hands. He could have had it at 50 yards. So we know who Tua is, but Hill's supposed to be $30 million man going to the Hall of Fame. You're playing the Bills. You got him on the ropes. You got to go get that.
Well,
you know, so like
$50 million man is throwing to a $30 million man. So
we want Tua to sit there and take the shots and stand in. So he's got to me, I think Tyreek is also like, I think, you know, it's something's off. I mean, I even notice how in the middle of the game they're mentioning he's got NFL's investigating him for abuse. There's a lot of stuff going on.
No, I get it. Tua threw it up there. I like that he threw it up there. I don't know if that was the right play to make, but I like that he threw it up there. Tyreek had the under leverage. He could have came down with that pay, but I do think people are putting all this blame on Tyreek on that play. I'm not. I'm like, both guys didn't make good enough plays, but it wasn't like I could see why it wasn't made. You know what I mean? That ball was sitting in the air a long time, and you had a safety coming over. But that's my opinion. But go ahead.
So, but what you're saying is that he made a business decision.
No, okay, I guess, but sometimes, yeah, he's not the biggest guy in the world, though, Curtis. You know, that's the thing. That's not why I have him there, to go get 50-50 balls between two.
But you know, I don't know.
No,
I don't think he's the problem. I think the whole construction is the problem. Like,
that's the number one problem. Yeah, that's
you know,
I think
everybody knows who Tua is, except our GM and coach.
Right, but what I wanted to do is kind of identify what is. There's just too much talent in this offense to be playing consistently this bad. Right, this goes back to last year.
I know
the offense. You have a dynamic weapon in the backfield. You have two big time receivers in the offensive line. What's happening is the reason why it's not happening. You said the coverage, but not only that. And here's what I'm going to tell you. What I noticed. So chat, get ready here. Here's why I think the biggest difference between Tua in 23 and 25, and that's what I said at the top. Tua's biggest strength when he came out, his biggest strength in this particular offense. Now, this doesn't mean you can copy and paste another quarterback in this offense, and I think they'll be well. I think in this particular offense, it takes a special kind of quarterback. What Tua did well with Mike in this offense is what I told you. Didn't hesitate, got the ball out quick, regardless of the offensive line play. The ball was coming out quick because he saw guys open. I can't tell you how many times, Jason and Curtis, do you remember a fingertip missing a ball and the head turning a second too late because Tua saw it, he processed it so quick. He saw where the guy was going to be. He did that better than anybody, and that's what helped him in that 23 year. That's what took him to the next level. Let's look at this last game. I want to give one play of an example here. Let me see. Let me pull it up. This is our first time. What do you guys think of this video thing? You guys like? We'll do it more. You know.
Yeah, it's great.
All right. Let me go back here. Pull it up. All right. Here's so what do we have here? We got 2x1. We got twins on the top there. It's NWI and Waddle. NWI actually stays in here and blocks on this play. And then you got on the bottom of your screen, Tyreek's going to go in motion. So Tyreek goes in pre-snap. He goes in motion. And come on. And there's going to be a play action. Bootleg. All right, so let it go. This is what Tua used to do. You see Tyreek on the outbreaker there? Throw it to the side. Let it go. Here it is. Look how long he waits. Done. That, my friends, is the difference between 23 Tua, forget about too high. That's the difference. Now, I don't know if he's trying to gather himself because he doesn't trust his arm strength to get closer, but you see NWI, saves some blocks, play action, roll out to the left, let it rip. Hit
Right
that
now.
side. Right now, gone. Look
Right
how long
now.
he waits. 1, 2,
1, 2,
3.
3.
2 or 3 seconds.
Way
The
too
play's
long.
cut off. It's done. Look nowhere else. That's the difference. You can tell me about the offensive line. You can tell me a lot of things. Sometimes this is the quarterback you signed up for. The offensive line hasn't been great for a while. He has to make these plays. That's the biggest difference for me. 100%. And there's more examples. We'll play it one more time. Curtis, I know this is your first time seeing it, guys. You guys kind of commentate to this. You heard enough of me talking, but go ahead. Either one.
Curtis,
Well,
go ahead,
look,
man.
Well, when he's on the move like that, he hasn't been on the move and thrown on the move in years.
Yeah, but he has to
because he's got to put it right there in the air.
But he can do that.
He hasn't done that for a
But
while.
that's his strong side. Like that. I mean,
That's his strong side, and
he needs to be able to.
Look,
he needs to throw it. I know that.
Look at the corner. Look at the corner's hips.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's done. He throws it, even if he can get it over. His specialty is layering the ball in between levels. His specialty
to be able
is
to
dropping
keyhole
that.
that.
There's no excuse for that.
I agree
I don't
on
know
this
why.
one. This is
I don't know why.
This is 100% on him. It was 100% too late.
But this is not the only time.
300% too late.
Even if he completes a pass, it shouldn't have went there. It's not him that quick, decisive. He's waiting. It's like he's waiting for them to get open instead of throwing to them open. If he does that, he's never going to be successful. That was his thing. We talk about superpowers. That was his. Sorry.
Yeah, but mostly was from the pocket, not on the move.
But like Jason said, this is his strong side. He's got to make this.
I know he's got to,
Yeah.
but it's not even got to. Kenny.
There's no
like-
no capability anymore to do that because you still need to have that strength
So that's
in your
my
lower
question.
body to just uncork
That's
it
my
when
question.
you're on the move.
Is he running to get closer because he doesn't trust his arm? You see what I mean? That's the only.
I don't know if it's his arm. Maybe he can't plant that hip on the move and drive it.
And that goes back to what we're saying. So these are all why we're dissecting. How much is this on blame to Tua? Because little things like this, I'm sorry, it's not like we're smarter than the rest of the room, but fans don't pick up on this stuff. They from the naked eye, right? Like you got to go back and watch multiple.
He makes 5 steps before he throws that ball. If he turns that into just 2 steps, that's a first down. But he took
100%.
3 too many steps. And Steve, that's a great point. But on this particular play, George, pause it when we said right now. Run the play.
Yeah.
Like run the play and then pause it when he's right at the 20.
We should throw it.
You're right. And let's count the steps. All right. Pause it. All right. Now 1, 2.
All right, ready?
Go.
1,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Almost 7. That's nothing to do with progression. That's he did not throw it in time. Pardon my awful, verbal expression.
I think that's there's a lot of things that are around it wrong. There's a lot of things with the offense, the guard plays, and we're gonna get into Curtis's great Jonah video. Unbelievable, Curtis. I watched it the way and he says and then Angelo says, I will take advice from Kurt Warner. Well, I'm going to tell you, wait till we get to the interception where you shouldn't take that advice. We'll get to that. But yeah, so here's another example of Tua kind of waiting too long. And this is not as obvious. This one, to me, is not as obvious. All right, so let's go back here. All right, so here we are. We got trips looks like we have trips on the bottom of the screen, 3 by 1. Then going like in a bunch. Trips formation. All right. Here's what Tua used to do. How quick you see where Malik Washington is? And you see that hole? He put it 23. He puts it right there. And Terrell Bernard, they can't even react. It's already there. It's gone. It's already gone. What does he do? Okay. No,
Yeah,
okay.
but look,
Not bad. No, it's okay. Yeah. So yeah, you got A-chain. It's fine. He doesn't throw it to A-chain.
yeah, nah.
In 23. He throws it to Malik Washington for the ball at the 3. They scored on this drive. Doesn't matter. That's not the point. This is, to me, what he's not doing. And he got the ball out so quick before. and he'd read and process where a guy was open. I don't know if it's chemistry issues. I don't know, bam. He would put that at the 10-yard line before the defense could react. Jason, am I wrong here?
I mean, you're not wrong. I think that he could have let that one go. But if you also look, it looks like Achane is expecting the ball. Like you almost wanted him to go through that read and like just get the ball to Achane, but maybe kind of mask the
That's
first
the difference
read going there.
Of having a really good offense and the offense we've been seeing. What do you think? You should go. I'm not saying the Achane decision was wrong.
I mean, if you look at it here, Achane is expecting the ball
right
with the arm up.
But Tua's looking downfield. I don't know where his first read might be. I don't know who's at the 20. I don't know if that's Tyreek Hill.
Remember, they don't do reads. He's reading coverage.
Yeah, right. But I mean, he's looking on that side.
Yeah.
But to me, a classic Tua throw is to Malik Washington dropping in that bucket. He sees it already. Boom. That's what he did well. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and this is what I saw. Curtis, your thoughts?
Well, at this stage right now, you're looking, Malik's doesn't have his eyes back. The safety's staring at him over the top, so he could get him lit up.
Yeah,
and then the linebacker's eyeing him.
Yeah.
I mean, look where he turns his head around.
But Tua used to get out so quick. I'm telling you, I've seen this a million times from him, and this is what made him special. Bang.
So his head doesn't turn around. The head's not even turned around yet.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. By the time he turns around, the ball's there. Malik knows it's there. And he drops it right in between.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you, it's not as when I told you it's not as obvious, but that's what made Tua special. That's the ability to see that. And it's just not
but
there.
I would say to you this. Okay, so if you're watching film and you're feeling this, shouldn't Mike McDaniel know that too and set up a game plan that run the football more, get more looks that look, the pick he had, the Bills players said it was the same play from the week before. I keyed it and I knew where it was going.
Yeah.
So, it's like your kid, when they're having a bad day and you got to be a little bit more patient with them. So, look, I understand from McDaniel's standpoint too. You come out and they put 21 points on and it's like poop through a goose. And so he's like, I just got to start putting points on. But if he had been more patient, because he had a good first drive, and then it was the second and third one were terrible. He got away from it, and then he got back into the third drive and the fourth drive. I don't know. I think that really.
I mean, do you see my point there about that? That one wasn't as obvious, but it's the little things like that. I mean,
it's not that I'm disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
It's
okay if you do.
Yeah, no. But my point is that if you're watching the tape and seeing this, you're the OC. What are you doing to set your player up right? You know what I'm saying? So if you see him on the boot and hey, man, this guy's got a bad hip, because they know all the stuff. Why are you calling that play? And if you don't think he can make it, why are you calling that play? If you think he's got a little bit of the yips and he's nervous and you got Ollie Gordon, pound that football and play this game in a different tenor. You've got to treat that quarterback or your team and every individual player in different ways, So that's the thing to me.
When I watched this game, I saw the game plan, which I thought here's the problem. I thought the game plan McDaniel did was probably the best they could do for this game.
75. I would say 75%.
75-80% around there. It looked like a game plan that you game plan for you when your quarterback's hurt and you have a backup quarterback. The amount of passes behind the line of scrimmage were incredible.
Yeah, but Allen had 6 behind the line. He had 8. Allen had 1 pass over 10 yards, and Tua had 4.
But what else does Allen do though? That's the difference. What else can Allen do? He can create plays and extend plays with his legs.
He only had 20 yards on the ground. Look, he's a way better quarterback. I'm just talking for in this game.
It was so simplified. This offense, it looked like for a backup quarterback. For what the Dolphins have. The Dolphins have a different setup. What we're not realizing is we have Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill on the outside. And we're running it like the 2003 Dolphins or 4 into any year. You know what I mean? Jason, go ahead.
I just think that in that specific play, the 2023 Tua could have let it go, put in the spot. Malik the receiver turns his head around, boom, right there. But with Achane acting as that safety valve, look, Achane's on
There's
pace,
too
and
much
I said
safety
this,
valve stuff, Jason, is my point.
but
Too much
you're
safety
not wrong.
valve stuff.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
He's going to pick Achane 9 times out of 10, maybe even a higher percentage, because Achane, and I said this in the beginning of the year, he is on pace for 102 receptions. He's averaging 60
That's crazy.
Like, Tua is going to rely on Achane to the death. And it's nice if you own him in fantasy or if you're rooting for Achane. I mean, I would like to see him get 100.
Jason, you own him in our fantasy league,
I
right?
own him in like every league.
Jason's like, first pick, I'm selecting Devon Achane.
After his rookie year, I said to myself, all right, this guy's Terry Kirby. He's going to be more of a pass catcher than he is a running back.
Terry Kirby. Shout out Terry Kirby.
Breaks Terry, the man. Boom, breaks Terry Kirby's franchise record. Now I'm saying, all right, Tua's inability to throw downfield. Everyone's defending the deep ball. Boom, I guarantee you he's going to hit 100 catches. He's going to hit 100 catches in 16 games probably, because as the season progresses, it's going to go from 6 catches a game, which he's averaging, to 6.5 or 7, because that's where we're heading. Is Achane. Especially if you mix Ollie Gordon more, which they need to do.
Oh, yes.
In order to set up the play action. And that's a whole other conversation, which I know we're going to get to.
Yeah, I'm not against the game plan simplifying it, but I'm just telling you why they have to simplify it. It's not just the offensive line. It's the quarterback, too.
That is 1,000%. And a lot of these videos, which I'm having a ball, you doing and Curtis breaking down, this is great. But we're realizing that in some cases, multiple things can be true. But in every case, we're noticing that there's deficiencies from the quarterback's ability.
It's gotten worse. And I will say this, that last one wasn't black and white, cut and dry. It was more of an example of, because you can make the argument you should have thrown it to Achane. It was more of an example, his superpower of seeing things quickly.
It's gone.
Not happening is what it was. Let's do. How about one more of those? Let's do one more. Now I'm excited to hear Curtis' opinion. Hey, Jason. All right. Where are we at? Let me pull this up. Okay. Whoa. All right. So we got what do we got here? Bunch trips here on the bottom. Little mesh trips going on here. You see, we have Tanner Conner, Waddle, Hill. All right. So we start here. First, Juwan Johnson's got to make a decision. Where's he going? Is he going to trail inside or leave Conner to the outside? He leaves Conner. Bang. Turn your head to it. Bang. 2 guys throw the spots open. Gone. Hill, or he would throw. This is another example. You see Waddle covered high and low? He would throw that about 3 yards in front. Touchdown. Jalen Waddle. Hill, he's still running. He's going to outrun the middle linebacker, Terrell Bernard, who has to make a decision, Curtis. Where is he going to go? High, low. It's kind of what do you call this? Like a high-low cross route here? Yeah, high-low cross. And he's got to make a decision. Johnson's going to leave Conner open. He decided that. He's going to bail inside with Waddle. And then the linebacker, Bernard, who made the game-winning interception, has got to make a decision. To me, let it rip here. See it, let it go. Now Conner's open, but I do not like this angle, the distance, the player receiving this. I don't care. There's a reason why they let them open. Look at him in the pocket. Look how he throws. Again, uncomfortable, happy feet. Lets it go. The guy's in short hops it. Now, is this one, how do you guys feel about this? Is this another example of what I'm talking about? And they scored on this drive, I believe. But, again, that's not the point. You see the mesh route here, the trips on the bottom of the screen. Bang. See it open right there. Either one of those guys will be open in the middle of the field. Either one of them. Debate it, guys. Tell me wrong, right, or what am I looking at here? Are you guys seeing this?
Oh, there's a lot of guys open. He could have easily hit.
Right, but what I mean, the quickness of it would Hill and Waddle. It's the ability to do it quick and process.
Right.
Where he had this thing, he could see the guy open away from coverage before it happened.
But the question is the why.
Yes,
so
the why.
Did he suddenly lose it? Or is he getting scared? Or is a prolonged period with a dysfunctional front, defenses with the leverage, slowly whittling it away? Because it's a game of confidence. Confidence can be gained and lost. And so you got to ask yourself, we don't know. We don't know. Is he breaking down mentally? And even if he had the right thing, he would still do the same thing. We don't know if he just doesn't trust his arm. We don't know if it's McDaniel and this offense being so terrible that over time it's whittled it away. I would say, I'm sure it's a combination of those things, but it's clearly this offense of line, this design hasn't set him up for success. He might be skittish. He's always been a little skittish. He's always had the bobbles in big moments and stuff. Not terrible. It's been there, but the last 2 years have been terrible. So has it cultivated a better Tua or a lesser Tua? Jason, and is it gone? Is it gone?
Yeah, and that's the
point. The worst thing ever would be is that we're like, oh, we get rid of this guy and he goes to another team and all of a sudden he has success like Tannehill and we're on another guy and they're still floundering because we're screwing it up over here.
There's got to be too many exceptions made for him at this point in his career. I don't know how. I think teams will take a shot at him, but I don't know how many would come in and give him the starting role. Jason, your thoughts on this play? Do I have any? Go for it.
Two things here. Run the play fully, just without stopping. Just run the play fully.
Jason, we're going to do videos more. You get hyped up with this video.
I'm very hyped up. Go ahead.
All right.
Run the play fully.
Let's tell me when to stop.
To your point, if you stop, if you are Tua and you want to put that ball right here, like right by the L, and just allow Waddle to probably go up and get it and just fall into the end zone, that's a 2023 Tua.
Yes.
Go play the rest. Play the rest. Stop. Now, he probably would have gotten hit, but if you put the ball in the right place, maybe even by the eye, that's a touchdown, not the L, the eye.
Yeah,
okay?
But I didn't like the angle he was going to throw that on, the distance.
Fair. But the way that the play progressed, it would have opened up. If you had confidence in your arm and your receiver, you put that ball in the eye, it's a bang play, and maybe even at the 1. Now,
you're 100% right.
The second point is what I'm about to say is probably why Tua knew he was always going to go to Tanner Conner, because if you have a formation like that and trips with 3 guys, 2 of them being Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, who the hell is staying with Tanner Conner? But
here's the difference.
Could have seen that open.
Oh yeah. He
couldn't even make it throw.
But sometimes guys are open for a reason. But here's the thing.
If Tua had the mental confidence.
Yeah, Jason, in 23, it would have never got there. It would have never got there.
Correct. It wouldn't have got there. He would have uncorked it.
Right, that's my point. The processing. Tua was never big. He never had the biggest arm. Was not fast. What his super pro in this league was that. Throwing anticipation, accuracy, timing, seeing things open, knowing that this guy's going to be open. I see it before the defenders. Again, how many times did we used to watch defenders turn their head, fingers missed the ball, and couldn't believe it got by him? He's not doing that anymore. And the question Curtis asked is the big question. Why? And is it a combination of things? I want to get your guys your thoughts one by one, Jason. Curtis, what is the biggest factor here? Because it's clearly there's a lot of things wrong with this team. It's not all on Tua Tagovailoa. But I think there's a lot more to blame, because I will say this and I'll say this again. When you paid him that franchise quarterback money, it comes down to a couple plays and you got to make them. And you got to make plays. Things are not always going to be pretty. We're seeing, even when the pocket's just a little hectic, he's not reading, reacting, decisive. He's not confident. He's not comfortable. And he used to be. Curtis said he saw it before, but I'm seeing it a lot more. The question is why, Jason?
It's a combination of things. Obviously, he's not the only issue. There are a lot of issues with why this team is 0-3. But Tua, as the guy who we once saw a couple of years ago, who he's paid to be in the now and the immediate future, should be able to say, despite this, that, and the other thing, I'm going to step up and make a play in the fourth quarter. Despite this, that, and the other thing, less than 5 minutes to go on the road, I'm going to step up and make a play. I'm going to hang tough in the pocket, deliver the throw that I should be making. And you know what? If I take a hit, I take the hit, because that's part of the game. But we're not seeing that. We're seeing the avoidance of that. We're seeing an uncomfortability. I'm going to use that. He just does not look pocket present comfortable. And he's going to be making those decisions to run backwards and throw it short, or not make the throw that you're looking for him to make, because you know what? He might not physically be able to do what he was able to do 2 years ago.
Yeah, and that's the point I'm trying to get here. That's what we're trying to lead the pathway here is people don't understand why, they blame other things. They don't understand what is it with Tua? Why is it not as successful? Why is it different? We're showing you why certain things, whether it's the hip injury, whether it's breaking down, it's a mental and physical fortitude of coming back from those injuries. Or when we drafted him, they say, hey, this guy might have a 6 to 8 year career in the league. And maybe we're seeing an early regression on a guy. Curtis, your thoughts on that last play there and basically the why, because you're really good at evaluating all this. Do you see my point that 23, he hits it quickly, sees it open, and it doesn't even go to Tanner Conner?
But, it's like every year you have to analyze it for that year. So 22, we came out, we had this new little offense. Nobody understood what it was. We cooking teams. He got injured, but clearly they didn't know how to handle it. Yeah. And then 23, he came out cooking. Midway through the season, defenses changed the way they handled us. Our offensive lineman went down, and he didn't have a big game to the second half of 23. 24, they were keyed in offensive line talent. I mean, just think, when I ran a football, when it was a bad day and there wasn't any blocking, I stopped just instinct. It's not supposed to be thinking. But, the difference between Connor and Hunt in their prime working together with Tehran healthy, what do you got? You got nothing this year on this. So it's look at Stroud. Stroud's got 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and he's playing terrible.
I always said, let's see Stroud the second year. I wasn't a fan of Stroud coming out. I looked like a fool that first year, but I said, let me see that second year. That's going to tell me a lot. But yeah, I get your point. Yeah, no question.
So I would say the only thing we can definitively say, he could be wetting the bed. He could be getting the yips. His body be breaking down. This is all possible. But clearly, McDaniel's not a good OC. You can't just remember this one game. I mean, he still has trouble getting plays in. We had that this year. Offensive line's garbage. We're predictable. So that is the most clear-cut part of the puzzle. The quantities, we don't know. But that is a clearest quantity. Yeah. It's clearest part of it.
All of them. Here's what I guess the conclusion is: they all got to go. That's the clear conclusion with the GM, the coach.
But this is my fear. Okay, this is my fear.
Go for it.
The Dolphins are masters of media hustle. So now we're getting this strange narrative. It's all about Tua and Mike McDaniel. Poor Mike McDaniel, he's strapped. And like everybody was saying, Mike McDaniel sucks. You're not hearing Chris Greer. All you're hearing is Tua. And so if this team, which I think might not be able to get real GM, they're going to promote from within, that means nothing is going to change. Yeah, so how do you sell hope? We're going to get the savior quarterback. But if Greer, Ross and his cronies are still interfering with the GM, still having control and interfering on the football operational level, and we don't have a top flight GM, we got to null a yes man to whatever degree, whether it's Marvin Allen or the new kid we brought in, it's all going to repeat. But they're going to hustle us on this new pick. Frankly, you go draft a quarterback in the first round, you got about 70%. This guy's not going to be much of anything anyway. But they're going to sell it like it's all here. It's all, and then it's the same thing with Tannehill. Now we're here with Tua, and then we're going to do it again. The only way it's going to happen is if we actually hire a real GM and a real coach with a cachet to say, hey, money man, Garfunkel, hey, Ross, football operations are on me, or else it's going to continue. If you take Tua out of the equation, the same thing we've seen with Tua, we saw with Tannehill. Before Tannehill, we saw it with the Pennington and all the 50 quarterbacks we had before Tannehill. It's the same thing over and over again. It's the same thing, same dysfunction, same bad picks, same questionable moves, same results of letdowns. So my fear is that Tua's going, I'm not saying he's the best ever, but they're going to use him because that's what they do. They use Flores having dead bodies in the basement to make us forget that Ross stood before us and said, Tua's our guy, unless the next coach doesn't want him. Meanwhile, he had Peyton and Brady in the background. He knew they didn't want him. He was lying to us. They always lie to us. They didn't tell us that Greer got cut Van Noy despite Flores going into the 21 season. He was just a nice guy they lie. They always lie. So what's their lie this time? They're going to sell you that if we only had another quarterback, it's all about Tua. And if we don't get the right GM, it don't matter. They'll pick the wrong quarterback and they'll develop them wrong.
Yeah. I think we're all in agreement, right, Jason? Either you clean house completely or we're going to be sitting here 4 years from now again with another lame duck situation. Right?
You need a guy like Gruden to come in here. Someone with the care. I'm not saying him, but you need a Harbaugh. You need somebody.
You need a leader of men.
You need.
But it starts the high. It's not. It's the GM. I tell you about the Panthers all the time with Bill Zito. It's about finding the guy to run the organization. That's the key. You get the right guy, he'll find the right coach.
But will the right guy come here?
Here's the question. That's
so if you're Ross, and you know that you're a pariah, you can't get a real GM, you can't get a real coach. You know you're going to have to promote from the guy we got over from the Bears who made a lot of bad picks. He drafted that terrible quarterback they had with the Bears. They went to the Super Bowl and got blown out. So what do? It's a media hustle. That's all they do. They're going to say, well, we're promoting within, which means everything's staying status quo. Yeah. So we don't know. Maybe a great GM will come here. Yeah. But if not, they know it, and they're already setting up for that angle because that's what they do.
Hire the right guy, not the coolest or the new guy, the one that talk of the town. Nobody knew who Bill Zito was before Bill Zito was the GM of the Panthers, right? So,
but if you were a real GM, would you come?
Oh, you better let me know that I can pick my quarterback, pick my coach, and we better be picking the top.
Yeah, but you're going to get Garfunkel telling you what to do. I mean,
that's the problem.
This year, the money man told Greer that he can't spend.
Brandon
so who's in charge?
This is what you need.
Jason. You're a GM. Go. Jason Sardi's a GM.
Sorry for being ornery tonight.
If I'm the person hoping that the Dolphins do something, it's to find a guy to give the keys to be the GM where he is driving the car by himself. He literally has to go into every office there and being like, you don't have a say, you don't have a say, you don't have a say. Yep. Mr. Ross, I need this much because this is who I want. And then that person has to pick the coach. And then that person has to draft the quarterback. And that person has to not ask the coach because players are more important in who you bring into an organization for the team and the future, not necessarily adhering to the coach. So the general manager has to come in and know that if he's going to shop for the groceries, he's buying the groceries, and he better hire the right person to cook them correctly. Yes. So they need to bring someone in and give them, for lack of a better term, the power of God. And I don't think they're going to do that because they have people in the building.
One man standing in the way. Curtis mentioned it.
I don't want to play the name game. We all know who it is. And frankly, I'll play it. You can say it all you want.
I'll play it. I'm the bad guy anyway.
I'll play it.
Listen, even Chris Sims, I couldn't believe he said it. I almost wet myself. He said, well, Flores tried to come in and he was trying to do the discipline thing, but Ross and the guys around him, they weren't really into that, and they wanted to do this, and they wanted to interfere with that. Listen, somebody, and it wasn't Flores, because Flores would not put Tua in, winning with Fitzpatrick, not consult Gailey, and not tell the team. It was leaked to the media. So people above him, whether it was Greer or Garfunkel or Ross, forced him in. And by forcing him in, he compromised the whole team. And then they didn't even have the balls to say, we made the decision. They just put, and they leave it to him. And then Gailey even said at the beginning of the season, they're like, when's Tua going to, start? He's like, when he knows the playbook and when he's healthy. And then you had people, podcasters in the media saying, Gailey's trying to sabotage Tua for Fitzpatrick. And then at the end of the year, Tua comes out and says, I really didn't know the playbook and I wasn't healthy. So Flores didn't make that decision, but they just played dumb. They had the people in the media around them to push that. He's got dead bodies in the basement, and everybody who's anybody knows they did. Look what they did to Fangio on the way out. He was a mean, bitter old man. That's what they do. Who's coming here to deal with that?
I think they're going to have to be picky in the top 2 or 3, and the guy's going to have a clear no that he's got. Because look, they've already started clear. helping the books out a little bit this year, right, Jason? Like,
yeah, but for who? Was it for the look, Marvin Allen's there, and the guy they got from the
I don't want
Bears.
anybody in the building. I don't want anybody.
It's going to be. I'd say there's a high chance.
Then guess what? This is all a waste of time. We'll be here in 4
Kelly's
years.
going to stay.
That's the point.
Going to be there. Champ Kelly's going to be there. I think.
Yep.
Now, is he the guy who's going to be? Now, is he the guy that's going to be given the keys? He's a candidate. But like I said, if you're going to give him the keys, it's got to be him alone making it, and it's going to be all on him. If it's not him, you got to get him out. And then if you're bringing in a brand new person, because to courtesy your point, who's going to want to come in here, or whoever asked that, a GM with cojones and an ego will want to be the guy to fix this. You know what I'm saying?
Ask yourself, though, they brought Champ Kelly in for a reason.
Well,
they brought him in to
but things change.
No, but what I'm saying is they brought him in to get him to understand how things were running so they could feel comfortable with them. The GM's just their puppet.
Well, that's what – all right, it can't happen like that. You need you don't need a puppet anymore. You need the GM to say, this is my way or I'm out of here. And good for
that's a $1 million question.
Exactly. If it is Champ Kelly, what they have done for whomever the next GM is, they've done two things that is clear as day. They've financially started the reset, and they have stockpiled their picks.
And I still think they had a good, solid draft. I still think it's
from
early.
A mindset, yes.
Yeah. So ask yourself, what was the season about then? Was this a soft cover tank?
Yes. I mean, I tweeted.
No. I think they hope they're so naive in that building.
I don't want to use the word tank.
No. I think they're so
whatever. Yeah.
I heard they believe in that building. They can compete with anybody. They're not that far out Buffalo.
Yeah, but who'd you hear from? They lie. What are they going to tell you?
But in their head, they believe that. So
if they
believe that,
if they really,
they didn't expect to go 0.
So if they really believe that, then they're worse off than Tua because they're insane.
Yes.
Think about what they did with other options out there from a cornerback situation. They went with Jack Jones and Mike Hilton, who ended up getting cut. With other offensive linemen out there, they went Brunskill, who's garbage. All due respect to Brunskill. With a tight end capable of being a receiving threat, Noah Fant, they decided to not pay him and go with a cheaper option in a retired Waller. They have chosen the economic route in every position that they are weak at, and they have not retained in the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years players that they should have given money, and they've gone with cheaper or older or whatever combination of that is options, but now it's got to be reset. Yeah. It's got to be a complete and utter shakedown. Yep. They started this season as one of the youngest teams in the league. Last year, they were one of the oldest. And now you have to wonder, what was the last 6 years? It was a waste.
Destroyed.
It was a waste.
When you had Greer, I said this in the beginning. The idea, I didn't mind the idea. They haven't tried it, the full tear down rebuild with draft picks. But when you gave Greer the ability to shop for the groceries, I knew it wasn't going to happen.
That's what I'm saying.
I knew the problem was there. I knew it from the beginning.
He's coming home with nicked up soup cans saying, I got this for 90 cents instead of $1.05.
Yeah. And remember him telling us he's learned a new way to build a team. That was a big push through the media. He's learned a new way to build a team. We're awesome. He's brilliant. He's cooking.
He came down when he took over and he brought in Brian Flores and all these Patriot connections. It was I was like right off of Facebook in this, and then I come onto Twitter and I'm saying, you know what? This is going to be like the Patriot way, but the Dolphin way. Well, that didn't work, and he's tried 3 or 4 other ways. I don't want him to try other ways. I need a brand new person to say this is my way. You need the right hire.
That's
and
it.
It is the most important hire the Dolphins are going to make if they are right. And I'm not talking about a head coaching hire. The general manager, if all goes well, will be the second greatest hire in this organization other than Don Shula. Because in the couple of years before Don Shula got here, it was a country club. And then and I know it's the 60s and I wasn't around, but I heard the stories. You know, when Don
we got
Shula,
sources, Jason. We got sources back then. Don't worry.
When Don Shula came over, the players were like, no more pool? We're not going into the pool in 104 degrees in the summer. No, you're doing 3 days. This is going to be a complete and utter change. It has to be. And I hope whomever the new GM is, because that is what has to happen, has 1,000% autonomy.
You know what? Because I want to get to the video with Jonah, and then I want to get and then first the Tua interception, real quick. Everybody's opinion. I got the video there, but what I don't want them to do is they just seem like to do they love. Oh, we had the kind of passive player coach. Let's go all the way to the right and let's go get the extremist disciplinarian that doesn't know how to connect with people. Stop trying to go compare what you did wrong, did right. Get the guy in the building. Have a sense, have some foresight, and just hire the right person. Forget about what you had before, what you think worked and didn't work. Hire the right guy. It's just
but it's not. But the point though, the problem is you can't just go hire the right guy because the right guy's got to want to go to you. Right. Last year, no one wanted to be with us. There was a period they signed Hickey because nobody wanted to be a GM.
Hickey's the reason why Ross is so scarred about this because he realized he couldn't do the job. Like, forget about just
you realize that no GM choice. So they just basically used him for a season and dumped him because I think nobody would come.
That's what we're saying. You got to make it in neon signs clear. We are cleaning house. We have full control. But again, there's one person in the way, and I just don't think it's going to happen. But
there's an easy way to do that, and it's divide up the non-football. Make him in fully charge of that. The non-football.
He's done fantastic on the business side, and that's why he's.
Listen, it's very if they just appoint Champ the GM, then you know that they're not serious because you'd want to get everybody out there and you'd want everybody to compete and take the best one. If Champ takes over or Marvin Allen takes over, then you know it is they couldn't get anybody else. That's why they went with McDaniel. He was like the fourth tier guy to get.
But the reason why, again, they have McDaniel is because no head coach worth his stones was going to come in and say, all right, thank you for the quarterback. Thank you for the defensive coordinator. Can I get the rest of my people, please? No.
Thank you for the GM. Thank you for the
GM. The second that they told every coach, and I don't know if they told it to him or if it was a known thing or whatever the case may be, Josh Boyer's not going anywhere. Tua's not going anywhere. Chris Greer's not going anywhere. So who are you going to get as your first, second, or third choice? You're not.
Yeah.
So you get a first-time head coach, and I'm sorry to say, you get what you pay for. And Curtis, to your point, everyone is saying, well, he called a great game. Well, you know what? After a couple of years of not making up for the mistakes that he's had, he called a great game, and they lost by 10. And then you add the defense, and then you add Tua. But at the same time, he called an okay game, but it wasn't good enough.
Not good enough. And then the guy just look at the other guys on the other side you're facing. I mean, it's shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys, over 100 people. And come on over to YouTube, smash that like button, come subscribe to the channel. We got Curtis, Jason, and myself. We've been diving deep into this Tua thing. Kind of what the biggest thing we witnessed from 23 to this season. Where Tua we think is lacking from those previous years, and maybe why. This offense is not, among other things, like Curtis says, the offensive line. But how much is Tua blame for this? And we kind of breaking it all down. Curtis, Jason, and myself, we appreciate you guys joining us. All right, the Tua interception. Are we on? Is Kurt Warner right? Let's pull it up, and everybody gets a chance to kind of.
What did Kurt Warner say?
He said it wasn't Tua's fault. Jason, did you see the video?
You just should have eaten.
Yes, listen. You got explain it. Another thing with Tua, this is a polarizing conversation. Kurt Warner is a Hall of Fame quarterback who's going to say one thing. Then you have a perennial backup quarterback in Chase Daniels saying another thing. You have us about to say our thing.
More smarter than those three. More smarter than those two.
Come on. You have two quarterbacks who play professionally at very different scales, having different opinions. So this, again, is a polarizing situation. And to go on what I said earlier, you can have multiple things being true and fault to be had. Offensive line, quarterback, route, good defense. There's a couple of different parts of this equation. So let's play it and let's discuss it.
All right. So here's what we think here. Tua sees he sees this cover too, right, Curtis? That's what he's thinking in his head, right? Here, the key guy here is going to be the linebacker, Bernard. So, all right, let's run it here. You got what? 2 by 1. 2. Oh no, 2. We got 2 a drop. Boom. Here's the issue. He didn't see the guy.
He turned to cover 3.
Yeah, you see that? I was trying to look at the formation set and I hit it too quick. That looks like Waddle. Is that Waddle and Hill on the top there? And is that Malik? One of them. It's 2 by 1. You got Connor in motion. And here's the play. Keep your eye on the linebacker here. He thinks it's cover 2, right? I think that's what he thinks. Bang. Ball's coming out. He does not anticipate Bernard the linebacker. And the reason why I know this is Tua's fault is because I've seen Tua do this before over and over again, not being able to recognize this. And Bernard said he's seen this on film and they picked up on it. And Tua just did not anticipate and did not see him. Look, the ball's out already. Look where Waddle is. The ball's going to Waddle on the bottom of your screen. Bingo. All right, so what did you guys see, Curtis?
For me, look, you don't call the same play 2 weeks in a row. You can come out and run a football. You don't miss a block like that in 1.51 seconds. The guy's 6'7" in front of him. And the tight end, too. I think maybe Warner had said that. It's not a great route combination.
Yeah.
You look how close those linebackers are. And there's no way that linebacker would have jumped on that ball if he didn't see it before. So Tua should have eaten the sack. That's what he should have done.
Yes.
So he should have thrown the football. But beyond that is he should have been pressured. They should have had a better route. Look where those linebackers are. How close that separation. There's no tension. There's no tension in the middle of the field.
Yes.
Why are you running that way?
That route by Connor was dumb. That was I didn't like that concept. It didn't do anything for this play, right?
If you look at the play, look at the whole middle of the field's empty. So you're not even doing anything to suck.
Connor run some sort of in route there.
Well, he could run the post. Yeah, he could do anything.
Right there to take
a post in, an out, inside, whatever. But it's the same play that he did last week. So, nothing. He could have done a slant over the middle and it would have drawn the line back. Anything. So you got 3 guys. Look what the ball is. There's 3 guys within 10 yards. Look at this.
Yeah.
So you're funneling the defense into a small amount.
At all. This play design I didn't like at all.
He has bad route combinations. Yeah. We've seen it for years.
So look, Tua's throwing the ball.
Look at this. There's 3 guys within 10 yards.
Here's what you're missing. Tua's throwing the ball. First of all, Tua's locked into the one receiver. No matter what, hell or high water, this ball is going to Jalen.
He's got 1.51 seconds with a 6'7", 340-pound guy coming at him.
He's going there. He should, but make a play.
Well, does he know he's going there, or is he got to make the read because the guys come in instantly?
This is the NFL. This is what I'm talking about. You're paying $50 million to make a play, 1 or 2 plays it comes down to.
He did make plays though this game. This was a bad one.
Not enough to win. So and look, he doesn't see the guy. This is on film before, and again, I'm going to show you the play where I've seen Tua throw this kind of pick before. It happens all the time. That's why I'm not going to give Tua an out on this. Jason, who do you like to blame here?
It's a couple of things. Again, I'm not going to put one blame on Tua. It was not the best decision to throw that, but Brunskill was a horrible blocker, didn't even attempt him. So he's got a guy coming in.
I think it was run blocking.
You mentioned that earlier. It was an awful effort. It was bad on him. So you could put him with a percentage of the blame. I'm not going to give a number, but he's guilty in some way, shape, or form. Why not have Tanner Connor do some sort of a cross or a drag route or an in, like you said? Cover that real
even a curl to suck him in, but you can't run the same route combinations for 3 weeks, back-to-back games.
And you're bunching where you're throwing, trying to go to Waddle. Connor's passing Waddle and the defender. So instead of
Brunskill's a mistake here.
Here's a basketball term. You need better spacing. You need a better spacing on that. You know what I mean?
If you're the linebacker, you got the safety behind you, so there's no draw.
He was going there.
2 guys behind you.
Right now,
he was going there from get-go.
He was going there from the get-go.
He knew it was going there. I know we're saying, sorry, Jason. I know we're saying he had a guy rushing. I'm telling you, Tua was going here. I'm telling
If
you.
he had a little bit more
Tua was
time,
going here.
maybe it would have been a little bit more of a progressed play, a little bit of a later throw, and not had the guy jump the route. But bad block on Brunskill, bad play design where you didn't have anyone in that from, in the middle of the field area, which Connor could have very easily done that kind of a route. The bad spacing. So there's 3 or 4 bad components. And then I see a lot of people say run the ball. Sure, you could have done that as well to soften up the defense if you had Ollie in there, but you can't.
How about this? Is it too much to ask Tua to make a play and trying to kind of wiggle his way out of a defensive 300-pound defensive tackle?
No,
he got to. Jason, but if you want to win games, this is what you got to do.
Hey, go back to the start of the play. Okay.
He is not going to make that decision.
Look. You've got 5 guys. You've got a tight end on the outside. You've got 4 guys in a box. That should have been an inside run.
And
that's a different story. Yeah,
and that's another.
Look at the leverage. Look at the leverage they're showing you. They call a pass defense. Should have been an inside run.
If you look at the defense, look.
Connor's over there. So you got 6 guys on 5 guys.
They know what they're doing. Buffalo knew what they were doing. They knew they were going to this play. Look how fast, dude. He's jumping on this, Curtis and Jason, before anything happens. Before Brunskill gets beat. Before anything. Look at this.
Here's another thing too. You never see us under center. You know how many teams have started moving to a percentage of their plays under center because it immediately gives you a whole different set of reads. We are so predictable.
Sorry, Curtis. But
no.
It's first down. There's a first down play. So what you could, I think it was a first down play, wasn't it?
I would have to look.
I would have audibled into an inside draw. That's what I would have done.
I think you said it best, Curtis. You shouldn't have thrown the ball. Either try to.
No, you should have taken the sack.
Take the sack or try to avoid him real quick and see if you is that too much to ask? And then something else opens up downfield, or you slide 4 yards downfield. I know we say he can't do that, but that comes back to the big question: is that limiting McDaniel, right? Because if he can't do that, then you ask him. A Dolphin fan sit there and ask, why are we winning these close games? It's because it comes a lot of the times down to the quarterback at some point. And this is what we're talking about. He should have took the sack. First of all, probably a bad play call. Didn't like the route concepts. Curtis, I know you don't like him. Jason, you didn't like him either. Bad. Especially Tanner Connor's route. But in that play, they knew already where Tua was going. So that's why I put it on Tua.
They already knew it was a pass. But that's the point is a good OC understands when the defense thinks one thing and he does another. We have no flexibility. We have no audibles. We're predictable. We sit in shotgun all day. Yeah. So look, Ross sets the table for Greer. Greer sets the table for McDaniel. McDaniel sets the table for Tua. The offensive line sets the table for the offense, and then Tua sets the table for the skills. That's how it works in the NFL.
Good. And it all works in line. And I think where we're coming to conclusion is there's a lot of problems, but I think we came to a little bit of a conclusion where Tua's not as good at, right? But it's not all on him. Yeah. But it's not all on him. Why? I think
we don't know. We really don't know.
We don't know the true answer. And let's pull up his real quick here. Here are his stats. 5 minutes. Tua's career stats. This was before the Buffalo game. The final 5 minutes of a game in a 1-possession game. You can add an interception to that. I think that even the pass rating went down. This was before Buffalo. So it'd be 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. This is bad. Why? What's your explanation why he struggles in the final 5 minutes of a 1-possession game? Is it because those things like I talked about, it comes down to 1 or 2 plays? Sometimes you got to extend the play. You got to go off script. He just doesn't have the ability to do that, and he's limited, so things tighten up a little bit.
He's a system-based quarterback with a poor system. So, look, he's not clutch. He can be at times, but it's not like he's Dan Marino. He's not like made of steel. He's not like Josh Allen. But when you're one-dimensional and you have a poor offensive line and you have very simplistic offense that everybody kind of knows, that's not setting the table up for success. He's limited. He can't throw the deep outs. He does have the injury history. He's not super mobile and he's not tall. Okay, if we know that, what are we doing to offset that? There's quarterbacks who've had. Jimmy Garoppolo went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. No, you're right.
It's not like I know he's a 7 to 8 in the right setting. If you give him the right framework, he's a 7 to 8, maybe 8.5 with a really good framework. But if you give him a bad framework, he's lower than that. But it's got to be about the framework. It's always because you see all across the league. Look at what's Barkley? He was struggling with the Giants because their offensive line sucks. He breaks the record. He could have probably had the record if he wanted with the Eagles. Yeah. The framework sets it up. It enhances you. So the guy is what he is. Tua is what he is. He's not going to change.
Right. I expect more. I agree with you. I think we're highlighting the problem is we expect more of the guy you're paying $50 million for. And that's
but he didn't look. He asked for the money.
But we got.
We were dumb enough to pay him. We were dumb enough to pay Jackson $12 million a year. We were dumb enough to pay Chubb $24 million a year. We were dumb enough to go pay Eichenberg $3 million to sit on the bench the entire year. We're dumb. Yeah. We got $30 million dead cap. We're dead from the neck up.
Yeah. No, but I'll tell you what though, it's been fun breaking this stuff down with you guys. You guys have fun with the video.
Yeah. I'm sorry I had to play the bad guy. Usually we're in agreement.
You gotta play the bad. That's what I want. I don't want everybody playing the good guy. We got two options. Do you want to save the Jonah video for Saturday?
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's not even really. It's not germane. It's not germane.
Let's do the Saturday on our countdown to game day. We're gonna play you
because it's gonna be here all year.
Yeah. And we're gonna play it on Saturday. So check us out on Saturday. Countdown to game day. Curtis and I at 10:30 a.m. Right? It's 10:30. Yeah, 10:30 a.m. And also to Wednesday we got me and Jason. We got a special guest on 3 Wide Wednesday. So check us out. We went a long time here. I appreciate everybody for joining. Jason had some technical difficulties, but I'm saying goodbye for Jason.
Thank you. Hear me? I think I'm here.
Yeah,
you are here.
We hear you.
You're in the black.
Yeah.
We thank everybody for tuning. Yeah, everybody for tuning in. All the people in the chat. Guys, make sure you like, subscribe, share the video. There's Jason, and catch us on Wednesday. And then obviously we'll have something for Across the Sidelines. We got a special Jets reporter, and then obviously we'll be live right after a Monday night post game. So stick with us. We say we're all in. We're all in the Fins Faithful podcast. For Jason, for Curtis, for myself, guys, thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe and like to the channel. Fins up, guys.
Fins up,
we are out.
You good? Night.